Morning, bitches! It's a different tune today. I'm very excited because I have a dear friend coming into the studio today, and he's impressed me from the minute I met him a year ago. We met a year right before I went on my tour. Some tour was a week, for Fiddler. They fired my ass after a week. Thank God. But, when I came um, back into the city like 10 months, 10 months later, I saw this transition of this person. Oh my God. I knew him before as, what was your name?
Lauren,
Okay, and now it's Lucas.
Lucas, yeah.
Lucas, I love that name. Anyway, so my question to you is, and this podcast for me is about speaking my mind where I'm not harnessed by people. That's the story of my life, Lucas. Everybody harnesses me. They tell me to
Mm,
shut my mouth. They used to say I was a big mouth Jewish broad with big tits. That's what they used to say about me
mm,
for years. Isn't that rude? First of all, yes, I have a big mouth. Yes, I'm Jewish, but don't bring in the other part of my body if you don't mind. So that's a
yeah.
whole other podcast I'm going to do. But I want to talk about your transition since I met you as Lauren and now you're Lucas. So tell me about you.
Well, thanks for having me on here. It's really great to talk to you. Um, and especially, I was thinking about this to talk about transition um, in a way that it feels comfortable and open and not just throughout the day. I think is wonderful for people to hear trans people's experiences, not, just going about their day answering questions. It's so nice to have people seeking answers outside of that. So I wanted to, because I think sometimes, people don't want to share information about themselves out in the world. And so I'm going to try to approach this with as much honesty as I want to find when I'm looking for other trans people's experiences on the internet, because that was so freeing to see people just being, getting into the nitty gritty and the details. So I'm going to try to do that today, even though it's sometimes difficult to do. So I wanted to start with that because I think it's freeing for me not to worry about what the questions are and what I'm going to
Well,
say.
okay. I mean, for me, as you know, I'm 75 years old. So, I'm on the downswing of my life. And I just thought, well, if not now, when? Coming
Right.
from where I started this thing and wanted to try. I have so many opinions,
Yeah.
and you know what they say about opinions, what they're like, and everybody's got one. So I just wanted to share about it. But transition journeys are very interesting to me because I have a cousin who transitioned from a boy to a girl. And
Mm.
although we really don't talk, we're not that friendly. Her father is my favorite cousin. For whatever reason, we don't really talk and stuff. But I find it, interesting because I don't know what sparks something like that, either when you're very
Mm.
or when, a few years in. What was the beginning of your germ, as so to speak? It's not a germ, but what made that
Yeah.
happen for you?
So I think what's interesting about it is, in a way, it feels natural, but I think there was a moment where was able to separate out gender and sexuality. And that took a really long time to do because I self identified and other people identified me as a lesbian, you know, I had big tits and big hair. And, they thought my big hair was like part of my identity. And so eventually I cut that off and that was freeing. And then I always knew from the moment I looked at myself in the mirror when I was a preteen, I was like, like that's not right. But then I had to deal with those for, as long as I did.
Mm,
Um, and so I think there's it's almost a way, it's almost the journey for me has been, I tried to make what I had work as best I could until I was kind of done trying to make it work. So it was slowly that separation of my identity as a lesbian became more of an identity of I love women and not I'm a woman who loves women, you know? And it was also moments where people, it's interesting you talked about what people labeled you as, because those are the things that ring around in your head if it's not right. You hear someone else tell you something, when someone called me, one of my really good friends was talking about me as someone who is having the experience of a white woman in the world. And I was like, huh, like that sounds off to me for some reason. I have to, and it just kind of sits in your head. So I think it's slow, and then I had a moment when I realized, okay, I've reached the point where other people, like women I was dating, knew me better than I knew myself. They would ask me if I was ever interested in binding, which is where you put, now they have kind of a bra that pushes you down and makes you flat chested. It was kind of futile for me because I was so big. But so other people also kind of asking me questions, and I was almost in a place of I didn't know why they were asking me that, and then I had to think about it more. And so it's for me, it was a slow realization. And then you go back in time in your head and you realize, oh, there's all these things that lined up and pointed towards it, ever since I was a child. So that's, I think I had, because I started my physical transition when I was 29 years old.
Oh, I don't know what made me think that you were 23. I don't know why I
Oh,
thought you
that's
were.
great. I think I have good skin.
Yeah, that's it. Every time I go up for an audition, they go, but I'm 75. Yeah, but you look younger. When they
Yeah.
ask for an 80-year-old woman, I'm like, fuck, I'm 75. Look at my hands and my neck. That's where my age
Oh,
is.
yeah. Never wear a turtleneck. You have to wait till you're 100. Then you can play an 80-year-old.
Oh, thank God. Well, from your lips to God's ears, Lucas. Go ahead, talk. Anyway, go talk.
Okay. So a little bit more about, so I was 29. So, when I had to come out again, I did it in a way in a pace that I was comfortable. And I think part of that had to do with the fact that I was outed when I was a teenager as being gay,
Mm.
um, or, dating girls. So,
What was
um,
that like? Somebody outing you, a friend, or someone said, you're
it
a
was my
lesbian?
grandma.
Oh, I love it, your grandma. Oh, God. We
Yeah.
always know everything.
Yeah. And she was so sweet about it. My parents took more time to process it. So I think she just didn't want me to be holding anything in. Um, but I got called home from a high school football game and sat down on a couch. So I didn't get to choose how that happened. But I did come out to everyone since then myself, at school. And when I got to college, I realized I had to come out all over again. I spent a semester not out,
Mm.
um, which was interesting. Um, and so I took a slow pace, which for me, I found that I changed the spelling of my name
Mm.
and I
Because
started
I
doing,
knew you as Lauren. I'm going to close the door so when my husband, who never thinks of anything and just like a bull in a china cabinet, comes in, let me just close this
okay.
door so he doesn't go ding, 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 ding. Let's close the door here the best it can. Unless the cats are opening up the door, so. All right, going. All right, back to you.
Yeah, so I changed the spelling of my name from Lauren to Loren.
Oh,
Um, And that was also freeing because it was a non-binary slash, masculine version of my name.
Mm.
Um, and it felt like a stepping stone that I could kind of hang out on while I figured everything out. So people were basically aware, like, I'm not a cis woman, but I'm
What
still
is a
letting
cis
myself figure it
woman?
out.
I don't know. See, I don't know what that is. What is a cis woman?
So a cis woman is uh, someone who's uh, born female identified at birth and then continues to feel like and present as, not even present as, but be a woman. So it's the
Oh,
opposite of trans. So you're a
oh,
cis woman.
I'm a cis woman?
Yeah.
All right. I'd be a cis woman. I thought, my days, cis meant a sister.
Oh, right. It's CIS,
Oh,
cis.
CIS. Okay, I love, so I'm a cis woman.
Right.
Right. Okay, whatever
Yeah,
you
and
want.
I'm a trans man, so transgendered man.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
Thank
it's
you.
it's great that there's, instead of just being like default, that there's, and then the other categorization that's really helpful for people is like F to M, which is female to male,
Oh, okay. This is all stuff
versus,
I'm learning.
yeah, M to F, which is male to female.
Right.
And so that's helpful because when people are trying to explain their trans friend, they often kind of get like, oh, she was born a girl, but now she's a man. All you have to say is, he's F to M
Oh,
transgender.
I love that. That makes it easy. F to
Yeah.
M.
And then you're not getting caught up in their past pronouns and their current pronouns, which is helpful. Um, so yeah, I used they, them pronouns, and I used Lauren's spelling, which I realized that using they, them pronouns is really freeing because you're just saying, I'm neither this or that. I'm trying, I'm somewhere in between or both. And it's really freeing, but it's also basically a place where you're constantly going to be misgendered. Um, and I just let it flow with people because I was going to be the only one getting frustrated.
Mm.
If I were, like, I had a friend who was upset that the waiter misgendered them when they use they, them pronouns. And there's kind of a, you know, how is a waiter supposed to know your pronouns?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's really, really wonderful because I ran a pop up bar that was like a lesbian bar. So I kind of got my higher education in queer studies by running that queer space because the queer community holds everyone to a high standard. And so I learned a lot about, for example, if I didn't know the preferred pronoun of someone, I would just use they, them.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
even if I was referring to, I mean, especially like an old queen, like gay guy. Sometimes they're using they, them pronouns now, which is fantastic. And so instead of defaulting to like she or he, to use they for someone that you don't really know.
Mm.
Um, and when it becomes natural, it's as natural as, if you find a bag on the ground and you don't know whose it is, you're looking for the person who owns it. You're looking for them. You don't know their gender yet.
Mm.
Um, and so I spent a couple years um, there until I had the courage to physically transition.
Mm.
Because it took courage. And I canceled my surgery once, my top surgery. I canceled it one time because I wasn't ready and I was drinking too much and I wasn't healthy and um, I wasn't ready to go through with it.
Mm.
Um, and I also, the first surgery, I thought I was just going to get like a non-binary surgery, which would be like a dramatic reduction, because I still just wasn't ready to fully commit, because it's a big deal. I had a lot of nonsense in my head too about transitioning, that I had to get over. And I felt like if I was non-binary, that was a safer zone. But I found that it wasn't, because it wasn't me. So,
We live near each other. You're the same. I live in North Hollywood.
oh, I live right in Studio City.
Oh, that's close to North Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, I live right off of Moore Park.
Well, I hear the fire alarm, so it's coming here, so we must be very close. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Continue, doll.
So yeah, so the thing was really like allowing myself to do a low start of testosterone, and to take the time I needed before to get everything ready for my surgery and feel comfortable for it. Those were two things I gave myself. And also with my pronouns. So all of that I learned from people, truly people on the internet, seeing other people have a different experience than what I'd seen in movies when I was younger. I saw Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank, and Transamerica with Felicity Huffman. And after seeing both of those movies, I was like, if you're trans, you have to, and also the L Word had a trans character. In my head, I had this idea, if you're trans, you have to, abandon your life and go undercover, because that's what people did in the 20th century. And you have to disappear and reemerge as a new person and never let anyone know you're trans. And if they find out, they're going to kill you. I mean, it's like, I laugh because it's a scary thought. And, or in the case of like Transamerica, I just remember leaving that movie. I watched it on a plane and thinking, oh, there's just regret once you do it, that you don't actually find what you're looking for. So that was what was being shown, in the 90s and 2000s odds. And so the internet really just, expanded on that and showed trans joy and showed me a bunch of people who had a different narrative and made it feel like I could do it. Our Lady J is a writer and a pianist, and I saw her one time at a party, and I didn't know who she was, and I was like, who is that woman? She was striking. And I found out she's trans and writing trans stories in Hollywood, and beautiful. And then there's this other person, Aries Morose, who's a graphic designer out of the UK, and they would post on Instagram about their non-binary transition. And so it really just unlocked all that fear to see other people being themselves. So then once you start, like, I remember the first time I took my shot, it felt, my testosterone shot, it just felt immediately like, oh.
Really? Immediately?
Immediately.
Wow.
I think because and I also was like, I feel stronger and happier and all these things, which is just kind of like a placebo effect. But it was the like release of finally allowing myself to do something.
Right.
And then top surgery. I mean, that's just the best thing.
When did you do that? It fast. Sometimes I akin, maybe I'm wrong, to women I know who've had breast cancer and they have to have their breasts
Mhm.
removed, after the cancer and stuff, which I'm going in for something on my back today. God
Mm.
willing, and the creek don't rise, it ain't cancer, but it's a black thing. So the doctor's doing surgery on me in a couple of hours, and but that's neither here nor there. But tell me about that, because what was that like? My God.
S- Um, it was an incredible experience. One that I went and saw Dr. Krieger in Thousand Oaks, who um, has so many successful top surgeries. Also, does the interesting thing about surgery is, I remember one time I was like at lunch at work a couple years ago, and a cis woman, was talking about um, her distaste for plastic surgery. And because she was saying, women should be natural and all this kind of stuff. And I got really heated, and I didn't really know why at the time, but because I think it's, when people get plastic surgery, they're expressing their gender.
Mm.
And it's just a modern thing that we have the ability to do, that even a cis woman or a cis man, when they get plastic surgery, they're just um, making themselves feel more like they want to
Mm.
look on the outside as how they feel. And I think trans people are doing the same exact thing.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
and so this doctor does surgeries for um, mostly cis people, as most plastic surgeons do. Um, but they also specialize in top surgery, which is a double mastectomy, but with a different goal for the end look of it. So the
Mm.
scars like follow my pectoral muscles,
Right, right,
and the size and the placement of your nipples either look more masculine
right.
or not. And then, if someone has cancer and they're getting a mastectomy, if they can, you will get implants.
That's true.
Um, but there's a bunch of different types of surgeries you can get as top surgery depending on your anatomy. Um, and because I was large chested, I had to, I really only had one option. But I got to pick like how my scars were placed, and they don't meet in the
Oh,
middle. Yeah. Um, and so seeing photographs of other people's successful surgeries, and I knew a couple guys who had gone to the surgeon, I was going into it feeling great. I knew like exactly what I was going to get.
and how
Uh,
long did it take to heal, or is it still healing?
so um, I went in, and you have to take about 2 weeks off of work,
Mm-hmm.
where
Do you work, Lucas?
I do work
Oh, I didn't know that.
for money.
Well, I
Um,
hope so. Well, some people don't need to work for money. Some people just,
yeah,
okay.
I'm an architect, and I own my own practice.
Oh, wow. Who knew? We don't
Yeah,
know what each, well, obviously what I do, but forget about it.
just recently. Yeah.
Wow. My brother was an architect.
Oh, fabulous.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a great career. I'm really lucky, and I'm a second generation. My parents are both architects.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Oh, I am so much respect. That's a whole other story with my brother who's passed away, but he was an architect. Yeah. New York.
Oh, in New York.
New York
That's a
City.
whole other world.
He One of his claims to fame was he was responsible for getting rid of all of what is the stuff in the building that used to give people cancer? Asbestos.
Asbestos.
He
Hmm.
was responsible for removing asbestos and redoing a
Wow,
lot of stuff, in buildings in New York City.
that's incredible.
That was incredible. He was amazing. His concepts and ideas he was amazing. Unfortunately, he's passed. He was bipolar schizophrenic, so
Hmm.
it's a whole other subject, that I want to talk about. But during his lifetime, that's what he did. So, wow, architect. I
Yeah,
love that.
I'm very lucky I found something that captures my attention, like
You know,
architecture.
architects are the greatest printers. My brother, I have the worst handwriting on God's earth, but he had a fabulous handwriting on his, on his blueprints. And oh my God.
Yeah, all capital letters.
Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing. But go ahead. I interrupted you for a minute. Go, go, go.
Oh yeah, so I took 2 weeks off of work, which is rare for me because I'm a bit of a workaholic, and and I thought maybe I could. Some people say, "Oh, you could probably answer some emails or something after a week," but you don't want to. I mean, it's a full 2 weeks of you're pretty much sitting in a chair or in a lazy boy. So then you have the next benchmark is like uh, about I think mine was a month. I got my drains taken out because I have to put drains in.
Right,
That
right.
was actually the most painful part.
Ooh.
But the scars are not so painful, and it's just your skin. It's not any muscle or anything, so it's not so bad. I just had to take strong ibuprofen. Um, but you're so happy to wake up with a flat chest and your neck pain goes away.
That's
Uh,
why my neck's always hurting me so
uh,
much all these years. I'm kidding. I'm
it's a relief. No,
fun.
it's real. It is a relief. And so there's that. You're so happy that it's fine. Usually, surgery is not a happy event,
Mm, mm.
so it's a different experience. And then it takes about 2 months before you can really work out at the gym again,
Hmm.
and then you have to do scar maintenance for about the first year, and you can't go in the sun until about a year after the surgery. So it's a process. You can't raise your arms up for about 4 months, 6 months, um, and it's all worth it. I mean,
I'm glad.
yeah.
I'm glad you're you and you're the you want to be and was born to be.
Oh,
'Cause I was born that way, right? I'm gonna get you a cup, girl.
it feels
Turquoise.
so good. This is this is actually funny. So okay, that reminds me. So I'm gay, and I grew up in the in my 20s, like the gay drag scene of Los Angeles.
Love that. You don't
It
know
was
that. You don't
fantastic.
know that about me, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the that scene was where I was. I wasn't really in lesbian spaces actually. I was mostly in gay male spaces. But probably because I wanted to, be with men. And the funniest thing right now is as I transition and I become more passing, my the current situation I'm in is that people think I'm a gay man.
Cool.
It's a trip. I mean, I never have experienced who I didn't think that was going to happen, right? But it's because I have these mannerisms, um, and so even though I've only dated women before, I'm trying to navigate. Oh, how does this work? You know,
Mm, mm.
um, it is a journey, and like my gay friends, they all call each other girl, you know, call everything girl,
Right,
and
right.
uh, and it's like this. It's so interesting when you're trans, you're still part of the queer community, but you're navigating all this gender stuff. And I've only dated bisexual women mostly, but as a lesbian, so I'm entering this whole new territory where I'm trying to figure that all out.
So
Because I just,
so have you started dating now?
I just the last like 2 weeks, I decided, okay, I'm gonna start to be open to the idea.
Okay, good, good. Because if
Yeah.
you need dating advice, honey, I've been in 5 times engaged, 3 times married, honey. I'm serial monogamous, so anytime I've got good dating skills.
I
Believe
could
me.
use it. I need the perspective of a straight woman.
Well, I'm here. I'm here to help you. I can give you the list because I'm in this other program for many, many years, sober in that another program. And when women or men would come to me and ask me dating advice, I would give them the list of things that I think that they should do in order to find the perfect relationship or a relationship good for them.
I need this.
Good.
I
We'll
need
talk.
this.
We'll talk separately from this. I was just wanting for you to come on and tell your experience and give your experience, strength, and hope in this area. And
Yeah.
this is a whole new thing for me doing this podcast, talking about a lot of things that I think that next for me will be a woman's body is her own, or anybody's body is their own, and
Mm,
sharing about that, about abortion and all that, but that's a whole other thing. I have so many topics I want to discuss, but we'll discuss separately my suggestion about finding a partner for yourself. I've got the
wonderful.
list, the infamous list, the SJ TikTok Bubby Ma Kitty list.
I need that.
Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I just want to, first of all, I'm so grateful for you that you were willing to come on and talk about this. You're amazing. I think when anybody is themselves is amazing to me.
Mm,
And if nobody told you they love you today, Lucas, I love you
thanks,
because
SJ.
you and because you're willing to be yourself. So this will be on probably later or tomorrow on Buzzsprout. I'm just trying to figure out now to be going on Spotify soon. It's a whole new thing for me, this thing. And one of the reasons I went on this, as I said earlier on, the whole beginning of the whole thing is that, I've been muffled most of my life, mostly by men and some by women, but mostly men. So I needed to take the muffle off, the dog muffle and speak my mind, the cat muffle and speak my truth. And if it gets me in trouble, what could I do at my age, right?
Yeah, it's freeing.
Big effing deal. So thank you so much, Lucas. I really love you for doing this, and I respect you, and, you know, I do. So thank you, my darling. Mwah! Gorgeous.
Thank you, SJ.
All right. Mwah. Love you. I'll see you around the campus.
I'll
All
see you around
right.
the
All
campus.
right.
Yeah.
Mwah.
All right.
Bye.
Mwah.